forget this OP3 thing. And I need to get some more of these. Ooh, that's a tongue finger. I'm dead. Yeah, just do that like that. So.
We started off by placing the Melt Effect Skin Protectant on her hairline to protect her skin from the glue, and then we'll proceed to pulling the cap down over her hairline so we could do the bowl cap method.
I'm gonna see about this. Yeah, I found it on Instagram. This is a little small business. I just wanted to support my fellow black queens. Listen up. But I recently did something like do
So now we're gonna take the glue to spread across the front of her hairline, so when we do the bowl cap method, it would just be like seamless, like it would just be clear. So you just want to make like little dots and spread them out with the glue, like the tip where the glue comes out. And then you also want to make sure that you cut the holes for her ear tabs, so then you can also place the glue going a little bit close to the ear, so it lays flat when you go to put the closure down and, you know, sew it down and everything. Now that the bowl cap is starting to dry where I placed it for the closure, I'm just going to take a makeup shade that's closest to her skin tone to put behind the glue. Do not touch the glue with the makeup because it's going to be cakey. So put it behind the glue. So when you do go to put the closure, it's going to look like scalp. But the makeup that I got is Ruby Kisses, and you want to make sure you use cream foundation because it goes along smooth and it won't be like noticeable like how liquid foundation is. So yes, get cream foundation, and I got it from the hair store. After I thread my needles, you want to put the closure onto the cap and just make sure you position it to where you want, and make sure you got enough glue going across the bowl cap for whenever you go to actually glue it down and sew it in and stuff. But I'm making my part. And then also for the bowl cap, I put the glue like a little bit not halfway, I put it a little bit further than the closure just to give me extra room for just any reason. So I always just go just a tad bit past the closure with the glue just to make sure I have enough room if needed. And I'm sorry about my nose. Okay, so this is an important step if you want your closure to lay down like so flat and just for it to look so good. The thick ear tabs, I wish I was able to zoom in to show you, but the thick ear tabs that are on the sides, that's with the lace folded, you want to cut those off. I usually just leave the closure on her head and then, you know, cut the tabs back to at least where her braid starts, and then, you know, the rest will be glued. But you want to make sure that you cut those off so it could literally lay flat seamlessly, and it'll just look so good when you do it. So that's the tip that you need to do. And right now I'm just putting the closure back on, positioning it right, making sure it's where I want it to be, and just making sure I got enough of the ear tabs cut off for whenever I go to sew it. After that, I just take the closure off her head and I make sure I hot comb the hairline back so I have like a smooth foundation when I go to glue it down and everything, so the hairs aren't in your way. So make sure you invest in a hot comb, please. Okay, so now that the glue on the cap is dry, you're just gonna want to cut the cap back to like where the glue is, so you can have it like as close as possible to the glue, and cut off the extra little pieces of the cap just to make sure it's like seamless, because when you use the glue it turns clear, so the cap is going to be clear right there, so when you go to lay your closure or frontal you won't see the cap. So that's why you want to make sure you cut off the little pieces, and you can't see them in the video, but if you do it in person, lay the glue down and then start to cut, you'll get what I'm saying. So that's why I use hospital scissors, because the one side has like a real skinny sharp end, and then on the other half it's a flat part, so I just go along with the sharp end. But after you cut back a little bit, I just put the closure onto her head so I could pluck. I usually pluck the black knots, and then if the closure needs plucked, I just go ahead and pluck the closure. But I like putting it on her head and doing it because like I'm able to see how natural it's starting to look. And then also, if you didn't cut the little pieces that I was talking about, when you go to put the closure over top, you will see the little pieces. So that's why I always go back and keep putting it on, just to make sure I got all the little pieces off when I go lay it down. Okay, so I know I was out of frame, so you really can't see what I was using, but I put a picture of it. This is the True Match Lace Conceal. They have a lot of different shades to, like, you tint your lace and you tint it to your client's shade, and it will seamlessly blend. I tell y'all, invest right now. Get this ASAP now. It is now time to start sewing down the closure, so I just have her hold the two sides and just sew it down, and I go from one end to the other. Sometimes I'll alternate from like the middle and then go to one side, and then I hold the other side and go from the middle to the other side. But today I did it different. Don't mind that. Okay, so now that I'm done sewing on the closure, I make sure that I knot it about 2 to 3 times and then tie it like a bow twice. That ensures like that the knot is not coming out or anything. So yeah. So then you don't want to cut the cap until the closure is laid down, like how I cut the front, but you don't cut the whole cap until the closure is all sewn down, because if you do that, then it will start to roll up, and then the cap is just gonna be up in places that you don't want it to be. So you see now that I'm pulling it up, so I'm able to tuck her braid throughout her other braids. You could sew it down or tuck it, whichever you prefer, but I usually tuck it and it stays. After I put her closure into a ponytail, to keep the hair out the way, and I sewed in her first track, you would then, well, you don't have to always do this, but most times after I sew the first one in, if the hair's straight, I at least straighten it a bit, or spray it with like some serum or heat protectant, brush through it. Right now, since she has curly hair, I'm just taking my mousse and what is it? I don't know if it's a paddle brush or people call it a white girl brush. I don't know, but I call it paddle brush. I just take that, brush through the hair just to, define the curls. But when defining curls, you want to make sure that you use mousse and water. You don't want to add in like other products. Well, I usually don't add in like natural hair products because I don't know how that will react to the weave, and you don't want to weigh the hair down. So mousse and water defines your curls perfectly. I'm not gonna tell y'all wrong. Just do it. So now we are sewing in the last bundle, which I sewed in just as a single weft. The first two usually get doubled, but I always try to fit 3, especially with curly hair, so it can be nice and full. So yeah, I'll come back when the last bundle is sewn in, and we cut the thread and knotted it, so I could then show y'all what we're gonna do with the closure. Okay, so when laying the glue, you literally want to follow the guide that you did with gluing the bowl cap down. And you want to put it on the cap and then use the rat tail comb to smooth it just a little bit in front of the cap. Do not go overboard, because then you will have glue on her forehead. You can always go back after you cut the lace, and any extra glue you could take off, but I would prefer not to go overboard and do it, because the glue is hard to get off, and then you don't want the lace to lift and then have to come back and do it all over. So just go in front and take your time. I usually do like 3 to 4 layers. I think in this video I did 3. Okay, so this is the second layer. You want to smooth it out and let it dry until it's clear. Once it's clear, then you go on with the next layer. Okay, you see here, this is me laying down my last layer of glue. In the next clip, I'm going to show you how thick you want it to be and how you want it to be laid evenly throughout her hairline, so it's able to dry clear, you lay your closure down. And this is how you want it, just smoothed down, so it'll be perfect. Okay, so I guess I go in with another layer again, but you see how we had the white glue before and that was clear. You just want to wait until then to put down another layer, and it doesn't matter how many you put on, just make sure it's clear. Okay, so with dealing with curly hair, this is another step that I take to help define the curls. I take my blow dryer with this diffuser part. Most blow dryers come with it. It's an attachment that you could buy or whatever, but you would just take it and grab the ends of the hair and the mid shaft of the hair, and just go in an up and down motion to help dry the hair. But you want to keep your heat setting on cool or medium heat. You do not want to do high heat, because it will dry the hair, but it'll also have it frizzy. So that's why I only do it for like a small amount of time, just to help define the ends of the curl. I really don't do it to get the hair dry. Okay, so with laying the closure down, you really want to make sure you take your time when doing this. I take the lace, I don't stretch it and pull it because over time, once wear and tear, it will start to slide back. That's why you make sure you position it how you want when you go to sew it down, so you don't have to pull it. You literally just lay it into the glue. So you just lay it into the glue and take the back of the comb, not the red top part, the back of the comb, and literally smooth it in. But do not apply pressure and do not use your fingers because it will turn the glue white and you'll be starting over.
Cat. She was like, leave me alone. Oh my God, leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. Oh no, you see the one with the Chinese girl in the class? And then the dude tried to get the. She was gonna walk box. He said, wait, it's wrong. Oh my God, with a walk box. She was like, oh my God. She said, oh my God, leave me alone. I swear to God, leave me alone. I think that's her. Is she black? Yeah, who? It's Cat. Oh, her. Okay, I did see that. She had me. What she said?
So now we are on to the part of cutting the lace. I will not stress this enough. When cutting the lace, make sure you go along the hairline. But if you plucked it, how the little hairs, that's why you want to get close. So your scissors will go in a zigzag motion, but you don't cut straight across. Please don't. It will not look natural. If you have them pieces that's like zigzag, I know most people use zigzag scissors, but I just, follow the hairs that are literally right there with the hairline. If you have to cut some hairs out, that is totally okay. It will not hurt you. Let's just take a fine moment to see how melted this is. Okay. Okay, so now I had a few pieces that were lifted up that I did not put glue on. This is why I said it's okay to, just smooth a little bit, because you can always go back and just add more glue. So you just want to put it in a portion of where you're laying it down at, and then once it's clear, you'll put it on down. Okay, so this is what I was talking about whenever I said I always put more glue past the where I'm laying the closure down, because you can always pick it up and cut it off. I just always do that. It's just insurance basically. So now that the lace and the glue have melted together and became one, we will start just, how do I say this? So don't apply pressure. But the teeth of the comb, you will see me do it. Just take them and, you'll see what I'm doing. You'll see what I'm doing. But, just push the glue in a little bit more, but don't apply a lot of pressure. Just lightly. You see how I'm lightly doing it, just to make sure the ends of my closure are just laid down. So this step is optional, but I recommend you to do it. But just basically pluck the closure. Do not go overboard as to where it's bald. When it comes to colored hair, lightly do it, because you won't have spray to put your comb down and go over. With black hair, you could just pluck, add some makeup, use the rat tail comb and, you know, black spray it, and then it looks clean. But lightly do it with color hair. Here is me adding the makeup, and I recommend getting a real skinny brush. I use a brush that I got with like a nail kit, but you just use that little brush just to help define the line. You want a skinny brush because you don't want to go into the hair. Like I said, with color hair, you cannot black spray it, because yeah, that's gonna go crazy. So you just want to lightly do it. So try to just get it on the part and not the hair.
If anybody got anywhere, I just got fucking cut out of some shit. Can you give me those dramatic fingers? Oh, this color really came out blonde. Kind of like what I wanted to. And I like this blonde again. I want you to try. Oh, I want you to try color. Like, look, I'm about to show you what I want to do next. Though.
Okay, so this part is definitely optional. I don't recommend you doing it if you're a beginner. Just take your time and practice, but you will literally lightly take your comb and pull the front hairlines out, and you know they will get trimmed. But a lot of people use the different methods, mousse, gels, and stuff like that. Personally, the mousse method don't work for me. I literally tried it in this video, which you'll later on see, and I then switched to the Eco Styler gel in the green bottle. So that's definitely a tip if you can't use the mousse, because it'll lift the lace if you're a beginner. Well, let me not say lift the lace. For me, I feel like the lace lifts. But now I'm just taking the same makeup that I put on the cap before I put the closure down and lightly dab across the hairline. Do not pick a lot up because it's gonna be cakey. Just lightly dab it. Okay, so this part I highly recommend everybody to do, because it will melt your lace. Even if your lace is like light after, you know, you put makeup on or tint or whatever, just literally spray the Got To Be Free spray onto the closure, you know, pull the hair forward and put an elastic band down, and it will be melted. Okay.
Damn, Lonnie. Look, we doing a YouTube video too. Look, look. Yes, girl. Subscribe.
Nah, I hear you.
Okay, so I usually leave it on for probably about 10 minutes. I usually go do something else and then, you know, come back and take it off. But just to make sure it's dry. You could blow dry it, do whatever you prefer. I usually go do something else and, you know, just come back.
I be feeling myself in the car. By the way, every time I get my hair done, I be having the windows down, music loud. Shoot, the whole neighborhood. I'm like, come on, let's go drive past the projects real quick. You drive past the neighborhoods also. Like, I be like, Nikki, how I get to the projects again? Drive us past, let's drive past there. See somebody outside. They gotta see this here.
Okay, so like I told y'all before, the mousse method does not work out for me. So this is where I switched over to the Eco Styler gel, and you can see it was like a lot smoother. But if you want a baby hair tutorial, let me know and I will definitely do one. It won't be like very good because I'm still, you know, practicing, because baby hair is just like art. let's just say that you literally have to frame somebody's face, then you know it's just a lot into play, especially if you don't like baby hairs and want it to look natural. But I could definitely give y'all some tips, you know, just show y'all what works for me.
What do you see? Y'all see that? Ooh! Y'all hairstylist could never. She could never in her life, even if she tried a million times. She still couldn't accomplish it.
Get on my nerves. Yeah, I'm definitely rocking with the baby hairs.
Yes, you keep getting better and better at them.
I've been practicing because I've been watching videos of when people be recording and you look so good.
Hey, what you gonna do? I don't want no relationship with a broke bitch. Oh, we gotta get a thumbnail. It's a thumbnail, you know, when you get the screenshot. No, it's the thumbnail one. With the thumbnail, what's now?
Okay, so this is the end result, and this is how it looks. I just want to say thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on Instagram at Queen B Slay. I will have everything in the description.